So let's explore what it means to be a sacral being. And I'm going to use sacral being interchangeably with generator and manifesting generator, and you'll see why in a moment. It's just a little bit shorter to refer to you as sacral beings rather than generators and manifesting generators, but I'll go back and forth because sometimes I will make a distinction between what applies to a manifesting generator versus a generator. Every energy type has a different type of aura. An aura is an energy field or energy signature that other people can feel and relate to. It's kind of what you exude. And in human design, we talk about how the aura extends 12 feet around you, above you, front and back, and below you. So this is how people can read you because it contains the feel of your energy type. So each energy type has a different feel to their energy signature. So as a sacral being, as a generator or a manifesting generator, when you're really being yourself, you just naturally attract life to you. You have an attractive, open, and enveloping aura. You kind of draw people and opportunities in, and then you envelop them in your energy field. And other people may feel a sense of sustainable life force energy just exuding from you. So let's say that your aura or your energy field was at a party with all the other energy types, all the other types of auras. Your aura would be the one that is moving through the room, and as you move, other people are moving toward you, and they're just naturally drawn into you. And your energy field, your aura, would be the one that's hugging, greeting, and drawing them into you. So I just want you to take a moment to just sort of settle into the feel of that, of being an energy type that exudes this attractive energy, this openness, this energy that sort of envelops and hugs other people. And that's what you convey when you're truly aligned with the essence of who you are. So take a moment and just feel how that feels in your body, or feel how that may feel if you're not necessarily connected with it at this point. Imagine how that feels. And know that this is what you communicate, and this is how you connect with others in your world. So I just wanted to offer you that as a feeling aspect of what it means to be a sacral being, what it means to have this sacral motor as a generator or a manifesting generator. And now I want to get a little bit more into the mechanics of what makes you a generator or a manifesting generator. What makes you a sacral being? And of course it would be this energy center down here that's second from the bottom of the human design chart. And your sacral center is defined, meaning that it's colored in. And whenever there is an energy center on your chart that's colored in, it means you have consistent access or a consistent way of processing the energy that's experienced through that center. So the sacral center is the center for work energy and generative and regenerative energy. And because your sacral center is defined, this is what you're exuding out. This is what people are resonating with in your aura and reading from your aura, that you have this sustainable work energy and this regenerative energy that they're naturally attracted to. The defined sacral center has some attributes that are unique to it. So as we mentioned, it is the center for generative life force and sustainable energy to work. So as a generator or manifesting generator, as a sacral being, you're designed to work. You thrive on work that's satisfying. And you're the only energy types that have this defined sacral center, that have this motorized center that responds to life with a gut level response. And we'll get more into that as we move into the sacral response, but usually that gut level response comes in the way of a guttural sound. So the sacral center is actually the strongest motor in the body. It sort of drives you, it drives your energy system when you have it defined, and it responds to life. Life is always coming to you because you have this open and enveloping aura that attracts people and life to you. And then you use your sacral motor to respond to what's really good for you, to what's really life-giving and sustainable for you. You are the builders and the workers in the world, and you have that ability to work and work and work at things that are very satisfying for you. And I may be jumping a little bit ahead, but I just want to make you aware that this is what makes you unique, is this ability to continuously work at things that really drive your motor, that really get your motor going. Now, I do want to add that as a sacral being, you make up about 70% of the people on the planet. So that's why we have this way of working that includes 40 hours a week, 8 hours a day, and we really value the work ethic, because this is what the majority of the people actually need to do in order to stay healthy. So you need to work at things that really get your motor going, because it keeps you healthy, it keeps your energy system moving and clear. Now, the sacral center is not an awareness center, meaning that even though you're responding with this gut level experience that comes out in sounds a lot of times, there's actually no thought or no conscious awareness involved in your sacral response. So it's a pure response that comes out of you before you've had a chance to actually process it and bring it into your conscious awareness. So this is where we're going to talk specifically about generator characteristics, and then we're going to talk about manifesting generator characteristics, because they're slightly different. The way you operate is slightly different. Now, manifesting generators, I want you to pay attention to the characteristics of the generator, because a lot of this applies to you, and then we'll modify it for the way that you're designed to operate. So generators, as we just talked about, you have a defined sacral center. And by the way, I just have one of an infinite number of possibilities up here for how a chart of a generator looks. So at this point, you may want to actually pull out your own chart and take a look at it. But if you are a generator, you do have this center that's second from the bottom on your chart colored in. It's always colored in on the chart in red, and this means that it's defined. You have the sacral center defined. However, the sacral center does not directly connect to the throat, nor do any of the other motorized centers. So let's take the sacral center first in this example. You see how it's colored in, which means it's defined. But if you look at what it's connected to, here's the throat up here. In this chart, it's actually colored in, it's actually defined, but it's not defined by the sacral. The sacral does not connect to the throat, nor does the emotional solar plexus, which is over here to the right of it, or the root center, or the will center. The root being at the bottom and the will being this little triangle here. None of these centers, the sacral, the root, the solar plexus, or the will, are directly connected to the throat via a channel. These lines that connect to centers are known as channels. So this means that you have motorized energy, but you actually have to rely on the things that you attract, the people and the opportunities, to come to you in the right timing for your sacral to respond. I'm probably getting a little ahead here, but we'll put this in. because I want you to hear it over and over. You need to wait for those things to come for your sacral to respond, because that's the energy that helps you to get motorized energy for action up to your throat for manifestation. The throat is the center for expression and manifestation. So this is what makes you a generator. And as I mentioned in the other slide, you are a worker and a builder, and you thrive on doing satisfying work. You thrive on using this sacral energy, this life force energy, this motorized life force energy to do work and to accomplish work in the world. Now, as a generator, you have a stair-step process through life, which means that your progress as you're working goes forward, or if you imagine a stair-step, you accelerate quite a bit in your progress when it's the right work for you. But then after a while, your energy, interest, engagement in that work may plateau off. Your progress in that work may plateau off. And let's take this into an actual example of a work situation. You find the right work situation, your decision making authority signals that it's correct for you, you get hired at a place that you really enjoy, that really energizes you, and you make a lot of progress. You get noticed by your supervisor, and maybe you get an advancement, maybe you get a raise. And then once you get that raise, your progress may sort of flatten out, and you may not feel like you're making much progress for a while. And this is where, as a generator, you may feel a little frustrated, or you may feel like you want to quit because nothing is happening, and you feel like nothing is happening, and you feel like you're not moving forward. But if it's the correct situation for you and you stick with it, you will eventually get to the next place where you get to accelerate up the next step, and then eventually that energy will plateau as well, and you sort of get to your destination. Let's say in this workplace, you get from being an entry-level worker to the CEO. Let's do that staircase, but you do it in a step-by-step process where there's a period where it appears that you're not making progress as quickly as you had been before. Now, the generator has an emotional theme of frustration. Emotional theme is a human design term. So what that actually means is that you will experience frustration in the plateau situation that we just talked about, where you feel like you want to quit because it doesn't feel like you're making progress. Or you will also experience frustration when you're initiating rather than responding, because you don't have that energy to do things on your own, to initiate things on your own that will actually fully pan out. You need the support of other people. You need the collaboration of other people and opportunities in order to get that motorized energy for work up to your throat, to make it up the next step of your progress. So if you're out there pushing and you're not responding, you're not waiting and responding to the correct things, then you're not using your sacral energy or your energy in general in a way that actually nourishes your life force, in a way that actually makes the most of your life force energy. So that's where the frustration comes in, because there's resistance. Either you're pushing people too hard and they're resisting, or you're trying to create something where all of the components aren't in place, or the timing isn't in place, and that will feel like resistance as well, and that brings on a great deal of frustration. So when you're in the midst of frustration, when you're feeling this emotion of frustration, that's an opportunity for you to really sit back and reflect on whether or not you're initiating where you need to be waiting, or you need to get some guidance around moving past your plateau so that you can continue to make progress. Strategy is also another human design term, and I touched upon it in our introduction. Strategy is the way that you meet with life and work with life and what comes to you in a way that brings about the least amount of stress and resistance. And I've talked around this, but we'll just lay it out directly here that your strategy is to wait to respond, and you're responding with your sacral motor, your sacral center. You have this internal guidance system through your sacral that comes out spontaneously as uh-huh or uh-uh. That is usually your sacral response as a generator. And if you're not hearing that verbal guidance or feeling that gut response, then somewhere along the line it has probably been trained out of you. And that's what the second half of this workshop is really about, to get you reconnected with that uh-huh or uh-uh response. Uh-huh, by the way, means yes, and uh-uh means no. Signature goal is also another human design term, which means that this is your overall goal in life as a generator, and your overall goal is satisfaction. So when you're feeling frustrated, when you're feeling this emotional theme of frustration, what you're really reaching for is satisfaction. In other words, when you're frustrated, you know that you're dissatisfied, or you feel dissatisfied. So as you begin to align more with who you really are, you will naturally feel this sense of satisfaction. So let's move on and talk about the characteristics of the manifesting generator. You'll find as a manifesting generator that there are some similarities, but there are some key differences as well. You also have the defined sacral center. And either your sacral center or one of the other motorized centers, the root, the solar plexus, or the will center, will be connected to the throat via a channel. Now, in this particular human design body graph, you'll notice that the sacral center is directly connected to the throat via this channel, which is known as the 3420 channel. This is the channel that, if you have it, makes it so that your energy runs very fast up to the throat. There are no other centers between the sacral center and the throat, and this is the only channel in the entire human design body graph that directly connects the sacral center to the throat. This is the classic manifesting generator channel. However, you can have your sacral center defined as a manifesting generator and have one of these other centers connected to the throat, the root, the solar plexus, or the will, and not have the sacral center connected and still be a manifesting generator. Either way, you have a lot of energy running through your body, a lot of motorized energy running through your body, and that makes it so that the way that you operate in the world, the way that you deal with the world and do what you do, is very robust, and you have a lot of energy that you have to expend, and usually you feel like you have to expend it very quickly. You are also a worker and a builder, and you thrive on doing satisfying work. However, your process of moving through life is about multitasking and skipping steps, because you do have all of this energy that you've got to run out. And on a physical level, you have to run that energy out every day in order to be able to sleep well at night. So therefore, you probably feel like you need to have your hands in a lot of things. You probably feel like you can do more than one thing at a time. And if anyone has ever told you that you need to slow down and only do one thing, that's actually not very healthy for you. Now, this doesn't mean that you're multitasking to be successful at everything that you do. It's more like you're multitasking to stay busy, like you're giving yourself busy work until the right things come along that your sacral responds to, that moves you forward in life. So to make this kind of concrete, it's kind of like you do your work and then you also have multiple different hobbies and activities that you do. But it doesn't mean that all of them pan out or all of them need to pan out. You're just using up your energy as you move through your day. Now, you're also designed to skip steps, which because you do move very quickly, and there are a lot of steps that you discover that actually don't need to be done. But because you do move very quickly and you try to skip steps, you try to get past things very fast, you may actually skip steps that you need to come back and make up. But along the way, you're really going to discover a lot of things that don't actually need to be done if you want to get it done quickly. You have an emotional theme of frustration, and you can also potentially have a little bit of anger come up when you're frustrated. And this is because your energy does move so quickly. When you're initiating rather than responding, or when you've moved so quickly that other people can't keep up, this is when that anger can kind of come up. You also get frustrated when you have to go back and fix steps, and you may get a little angry as well when you have to go back and fix some of the steps that you skipped. So your frustration really does come up not only when you're not observing your strategy to respond and you're out there initiating, but also when you've moved so fast that you have to go back and fix things that you kind of skipped over. You have a little bit extra added to your strategy of responding with your sacral center. And that strategy has to do with also visualizing and then informing others before you act. Now, the reason that you have these other two added things onto your strategy of waiting to respond is because sometimes, or a lot of times, your energy moves so fast, especially if you have this 3420 channel when no other center stepping down this motorized energy to your throat. You may not know if you're initiating or responding, and you may jump so quickly into something that you have to jump back out of because perhaps you initiated or it just wasn't the right thing. You didn't catch that sacral response in time. So as a kind of a backup to your response, to responding, if you can take a few seconds to visualize how this thing that you're about to jump into may turn out, you might not jump into it, and you might save yourself the energy and the bother of having to back out of something that you jumped into or that you started. And once you've decided that this is the correct thing and you're moving forward with your actions, you want to inform other people of what you're going to do before you take those actions, and that can eliminate or diffuse a lot of potential anger, because when you inform them, then they can begin to keep up with what you're doing, and they're not trying to figure out what it is and getting angry at you, and you're not getting angry at them because they haven't caught on and they're not keeping up. Your internal guidance is through your sacral response, but it may not be or Remember, your energy moves so quickly up to your throat that it could be anything. It could be yup, it could be nope, it could be it could be it could be anything. So you're going to have to kind of pay attention, or have other people help you pay attention to what comes out of your mouth as that gut response. Your signature goal is also satisfaction. So when you're really aligned with your energy and you're relaxed, you're experiencing satisfaction in your life and your work. Now let's recap the similarities and differences between the generators and the manifesting generators. And we'll just put you guys up here side by side so you can see what you have in common and what's a little bit different between the way that the generator and the manifesting generator operates. So both of you have a defined sacral center. Generators, you have no motorized energy that's connected to the throat. In manifesting generators, you do have a motor that's connected to the throat, and it can either be your sacral center or it can be one of the other motorized centers in your human design chart. You're both workers and builders who thrive on satisfying work. And for both of you, your idea of a great day is when you have worked and worked and worked at something that you really love and you fall in bed exhausted with this feeling of satisfaction, this feeling of a job well done. Now, in terms of your progress through life, generators, you have that stair step process where you get the energy to accelerate up to the next level, and then the energy plateaus, and then you accelerate again and it plateaus. And manifesting generators, you're the multitaskers. You're the ones who are skipping steps. You're moving forward, you're taking 2 steps forward, you're taking 1 step back, and you're using a lot of energy because you have a lot of energy that you have to use up. Now, I just want to make a point here that one is not better than the other. Even though manifesting generators, you move faster than the generators through life, or your process of moving through life is a little faster and a little more energized. If you two were in a race, if the two energy types were in a race, you would actually come to the finish line at the same time, because generators, you have this steady process, slow and, well, maybe not slow, but steady as you go, moving up with your energy, plateauing off, moving up again, plateauing off as you move forward toward that finish line. And manifesting generators, you may move forward and skip forward past the generators, but at some point you're going to have to take that step backward to fix something that you maybe moved past too fast. So in the end, even though you're taking those 2 steps forward past the generators in this proverbial race, you will have to take that 1 step back and slow down a bit to get that step that you needed in the first place. And by the time you get to the end or to the destination, you're there at the same time. Both of you have the emotional theme of frustration. And manifesting generators, you have that additional tinge of anger that can come up when you're not informing or when you've skipped a step. But both of you will feel this frustration when you're initiating rather than responding, and when you either reach that plateau, generators, or when you have to go back and fix a step that you skipped, manifesting generators. So there is a little difference in the strategy of the generator and the strategy of the manifesting generator. And we're coming into really getting deep into what it means to wait to respond. So be patient with me, we're getting there. Generators, you have the strategy to wait to respond with your sacral center. And you either know in the moment with that sacral response, or you have to wait over time and consistently get the same response, the uh-huh or the uh-uh, in order to get clear about your next step. And that takes us into authority. But you do have this strategy of responding to life through your sacral center. Manifesting generators, you also have that strategy, but your energy runs so fast that sometimes you don't know if you're initiating or responding. So again, there's this 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There's this process of jumping into things and then having to jump back out because they weren't the right thing. So you have this extra little safeguard here in your strategy to visualize. And what that means is that once you feel like you're responding, or once something comes to you, an opportunity or something where you're going to step into it and experience it or take action on it, if you can take a few seconds to visualize how it might turn out, you may save yourself that energy of having to back out of something that wasn't correct for you. And that's probably easier said than done. So I'm just going to leave it at that for you to work with over time. And then after you've responded and visualized, and if it's something that really feels correct for you, then this is where you need to inform others before you take the action. And this is what will kind of help you to diffuse some of that tinge of anger that you may feel because others aren't keeping up or they don't get what you're doing, or their potential anger at you because you've done something and haven't really let them in on what you're doing because you've moved so fast on something and you forgot to tell them what you were doing. So if you inform before you act, after you respond and visualize what it is that you're responding to or about to get into, then you will get everyone on the same page and everyone will have the potential to work more harmoniously together with you, and that will diffuse a lot of the resistance that you could feel when you go to take action. Okay, generators, you have the sacral response of uh-huh or uh-uh. That's what naturally comes out of your mouth without any thought when you are responding, and this is your internal guidance system. Manifesting generators, that uttered response may not be uh-huh or uh-uh. It will be something else, most likely, because it comes out so quickly, and sometimes it comes out so fast that you haven't even heard it. And both of you have the signature goal of satisfaction. When you are living in alignment with your design, when you're relaxed into your design, you will have less resistance and therefore feel less frustration and also feel more satisfaction and have more satisfaction in your work.